Hello everybody, my name is Space Timbino, or Timmy, whichever you want to call me, and today I just wanted to have a nice little Tim talk, you know? It's been a while since I sat down in front of some gameplay, weekly slap style, and just sort of, yapped. Just talked about whatever, and I want this podcast, or this playlist, whichever you want to call it. It's technically a podcast on my channel. I made it one of those, just so you could listen to all my previous Tim talks over the years, which are pretty much just me talking about stuff going on in my life or stuff going on in the world or just funny little stories here and there, and I think it's all fun and good. I think there's some good videos in there, even some of my older ones from right when I went and deleted a bunch of videos from my channel. I think that there are some bangers in there from the past few years, but case in point, you can watch more of those in the playlist or the podcast. There'll be a link in the description and probably a title card or something on the video, I don't know. But more simply put, I just wanted to sit down and talk about what it means to be motivated, how to deal with motivation and stuff like that. Not that I have answers, but just I want to share my experience because maybe my experience can help somebody else. Because at the very least, you can laugh and point at the guy who's doing something wrong. Essentially, I just really struggle with being motivated to do even the simplest of stuff. Today, I just had to do the dishes. There were dishes in the sink, and I just had to do them. And instead, I came in here, recorded Terraria for about an hour, recorded the gameplay footage you're seeing now, and then with my headset still on from my computer, I went straight to my bedroom and fell asleep for about 2 hours because I was just in the stasis of I need to do something, but I don't want to do it, but I do want to do it because then I'm going to have to do it later. And it's a whole vicious cycle that I'm sure many people can relate to in one way or another. But specifically for me, I find it just very hard to essentially get myself up off my own ass. It's very difficult sometimes to realize that there's something that needs to be done, and no matter what, I'm gonna have to do it. I could either do it now, or I could do it later when it's inconvenient, or whenever it stresses me out enough that I haven't done it yet. And 9 times out of 10, I choose the latter option. I choose to procrastinate until it becomes a bigger problem than it originally was. And again with the dishes, sometimes the little bit of dishes becomes a fuck ton of dishes, and then I have to do the dishes, and we don't have we have a drying rack, and I'm a person who doesn't like to dry off their dishes. I like to let them air dry. So I'll do a whole load, and then there'll still be some in the sink, and then it's a whole thing. And that in and of itself is just a small sample size of the motivation that I struggle with. And it even comes down to YouTube, it comes down to work, it comes down to just everyday life. And I mean, mine is probably because I have a lot of issues with my mental and different undiagnosed things, whether it be ADHD, whether it be this or that, or something else entirely. I don't know, and that's not the point. But I do know that I struggle to get myself to do things that I need to do. So I can either sit back and just let the procrastination station keep on rolling, or I can try and make an active change with those habits. Because that's all it is. It's just habits. Building up habits of doing things and making sure that you just keep up and stay disciplined. And I feel like I have good discipline. I feel like I have a lot of good mental fortitudes and mantras that I keep to tell myself and essentially keep me from going crazy. But every now and again, I'll falter. I'll have something that fucks me up a little bit, something that makes me rethink how I think about myself, and then maybe I'm just not sure if this strategy works. I'm not sure if the same plans that I've been using are going to help me the same way that they used to. And I have to adapt. I have to rethink my strategy, and I have to just, all in all, it's such a turning point that I don't even know where to go sometimes, and it gets very overwhelming. And especially with this, I'm procrastinating making a Halo 3 ODST video that literally just needs a final edit, a final read through, but the fact that I've watched it over 4 times, and I know I'm familiar with the video, I think it's good enough to go out, but there's finishing touches I want to add, and I need to do an outro for it, but I'm just procrastinating editing it every time or making notes on what I need to add to it because it's just like I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to upload this Halo 3 ODST video. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've shared what I have so far with some people close to me, and they thought it was a really good video, and I'm really excited to put it out. But there's just something in the back of my head, something scratching at me that's keeping me from uploading that, and I don't know what it is. And you know, I decided that it was going to be easier, instead of doing that, to just record and sit down and make one of these. So, you know, here we are. And I find that sometimes you have to learn when to adapt, and sometimes you have to learn when to cave, sometimes you have to learn when to actually, like, put your foot down with yourself. Because that's all, for me, that's all it really is. It's fighting myself to do simple stuff. And for motivation, a lot of what I do is I try to find things other than myself, which can really suck when you're in a rut and you need some motivation from yourself, or you need some self-confidence boost, and you have to look to other people just to get motivation to do something. It really sucks sometimes, but trust me, it is better than nothing, because if you can sit here and you can be motivated for other reasons, like specifically for me, this whole YouTube dream that I have, the reason I keep doing it is, well, one, it's one of the very few things I do for myself, but two, if it's ever successful, if I ever get to a point where I'm making more money than I know what to do with, then all of the people, all the bills that I have, all the like struggles, all the debt that I've accrued, I'll hopefully be able to like pay it off or something like that. And I'm not like hoping for a lucky break and that's gonna fix all my problems, but essentially, like, that's a possibility here, and whether I'm working on it or not, it could happen any day. It's just all dependent on the algorithm and the quality of my own content. And as I get better and better and like more confident in myself, my content's only going to get better and better. So I'm essentially just fighting a ticking time bomb and a luck machine, rolling a d20 every time I post a video, hoping that something good happens. But beside from that, even, it's like, if I can do all of these things, if these things can fall in the line, or if I can work on this and get into a good position, like, the people I care about are going to be taken care of. The people that I worry about daily, the people that I love, the people that I care for, that if I'm able to get into an advantageous position or something like that, then I know that, like, they will be better off. Because, I mean, I'm the type of person, I would love to do, just, if I had $1 million, I'd give $999,909 away, probably. I really fucking hate money when it comes down to it. I despise it to a point where it is, like, I could go on a whole rant on a separate channel on how much I hate just money, but that's not the rant I'm going on. I am entirely focused on just having something I enjoy and having things that I can keep myself going for. And it just so happens that I live in a society where money is needed, and sometimes that can make it really hard to stay motivated, especially with YouTube, because I'm not making any money on this. And even if I hit the 500 subscriber goal or stuff like that, I'm not going to be making money on this for a long time. And it's a little disheartening sometimes. It makes me want to give up. It makes me want to, you know, think of other things. It makes me just want to it makes me want to delete OBS, delete all my editing software, and just play games for fun, because I know I can have fun with that. But every time I would think about doing that, I would think about all of the memories, all of the things that I've lost, all of those videos that younger Timmy used to put out in hopes of being a YouTuber, in hopes of being someone more than he thought that he was. And if anything, that's able to keep me going. Thinking of little Timmy, little old crazy 4'11" Timmy, who's just absolutely clueless, scared, or just a weird little guy, you know, doing stuff that he likes, trying to make his way through the world. That's what keeps me going sometimes. And honestly, I don't think he would have expected me to make it this far. Not that he wasn't a believer in himself, but I'm farther along in my life and more successful, more like, I am just so incredibly fortunate and blessed to be where I am today. And I could sit here and talk about that for hours and hours and hours, about how grateful I am, how little I thought I was going to achieve. I could put myself down as long as I want to, but at the end of the day, I'm still fucking here. And honestly, that's motivation enough for me sometimes. The fact that I'm still here despite everything, the fact that I'm still making YouTube videos, the fact that I'm still working my job, the fact that I am still fighting my best in this god-awful, like, just scenarios we find ourselves in these days. It's just something about it. It helps me going. It helps me keep going. And yeah. I just kind of ranted there at the end there. I'm sorry if it got a little deep, a little emotional, because sometimes I get a little emotional whenever I just sit here and talk for a little bit. I hope this video was able to help you in any way, shape, or form. Again, if you enjoyed this video or any of my other stuff, links in the description, links on the screen, it'll be fucking everywhere. Like, subscribe, do all that shit. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.